Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now.
Good morning, Bix Weir, roadtour.com with your morning horn disease, your sip of chaga coffee. Oh, craziness. Silver's still rigged, so you can still buy it at a ridiculous fraction of what it's going to be worth next year. A ridiculous fraction of what it's going to be worth next year. We see this, anytime you see little slams like this, it's the bad guys, the shorts, testing to see how many people will buy into a slam. There's not many anymore. People have wised up. People have read the news that, oh my God, we're going to need so much silver in the future. It is ridiculous. I am revising my outlook for silver. I said, I'll probably start selling silver when silver gets 7-1 with gold, probably 1-1 with gold, because there's about 6 billion ounces of each above ground, according to guys like Jeffrey Christian. I'm revising that. I'm going 1-10. I'm not selling until silver it takes 10 ounces of gold to buy 1 ounce of silver. That's how gigantic this move. This will change lives like you will not believe. Yes, it'll cause chaos. Yes, there will probably be attempts at confiscation, nationalization. That's why you have to have it in your own possession. Your own possession only. Nothing else is going to work. I hope everybody can see that. I put out a little post yesterday talking about how the BRICS nations, that would destroy, if the BRICS nations went on to set up a gold type of currency, that would destroy the derivative market, which would destroy every single bank on the planet. Every single stock market would shut down. Every single bond market would shut down. Every single commodity market would shut down. You're going to be stuck with what you got in your hand. Actually, that's what the Road to Ruta documents out of the Fed said. There's going to be an end of globalization. Nobody's going to trade with each other. It's not like the banks crash and the BRICS nations are going to have this gold currency. They're going to be trading back and forth. No, it'll be worthless. Yes, the countries that join will have the gold. But that's the funny thing about a gold-backed currency. Who holds the gold? It would have to be the country that issues the gold-backed currency. So, yeah, you can say it's an easier way to deal with gold. It's really a gold standard. And how many people would cheat on that gold-backed currency? The complications involved with the announcement, it's supposed to be taking place in August, which is right in line with everything on the Road to Ruta. I mean, I do see that the system's going to be completely gone by the end of the year. So yeah, that would make sense. Just throw it in with everything else. And talk about everything else. All right. So silver's rigged. We know that. It's rigged by the government, too. The U.S. government is 100% involved in this, and we have many confessions. So when Jeffrey Christian says, oh, it's crazy conspiracy talk, I have the head the head of Silver Eagle sales from the U.S. Mint telling me that he was told not to make Silver Eagles enough to meet demand. As a matter of fact, he was told, how few can we get away with? So they only made, 12, 13 million instead of 30 or 40 million is what he said. This is the head of sales. This is the single guy on the planet that would know how many eagles it would take to meet demand. And he's telling me 30 to 40, probably even more. Because obviously, if Silver Eagles were all of a sudden sold at a rate that they're supposed to be sold at, which is the price of the physical silver they get off the COMEX plus the cost of manufacturing them, there is no markup legally allowed. By the way, another way they break the law, if Silver Eagles were being sold for, say, $3, he said $2.90 over spot. He actually said $2.50, but they're charging $2.90. Let's say $2.50 over spot, you can buy Silver Eagles. How many do you think you'd buy? I know. We're talking 50, 60 million a year. So it's been, 3 years now? 2.5 years? So that's 40 to 80, over 100 million ounces of Silver Eagles would have been sold had the U.S. Mint done what is legally required to do, and yet the management of the U.S. Mint told the person who was in charge of selling the Silver Eagles, do not sell Silver Eagles in quantities to meet demand. That's completely illegal. It's just as bad as when Bart Chilton of the CFTC was told, turn your back and don't look at JP Morgan breaking the law. It was a political decision. Chris Marcus's interview with Bart Chilton, that's exactly what he said. And who was his boss at the time? Yep, Gary Gensler. The same Gary Gensler that wrote the checks for the Steele dossier. The same Gary Gensler that's screwing with cryptos. He's on a mission to give the banksters all the cryptos, or the best he can. Welcome to the U.S. government. So keep fighting it. All I can tell you is it's a gift. Silver is a huge gift. A massive gift. Here we are with the moving averages is hovering right above the 200-day moving average. 200-day, if it drops below there, it drops briefly, and then it rockets up. So I can imagine them getting it below, $22.75. The ridiculousness of this price for silver. When silver busts through $30, it's going to run right to $50. When silver busts through $50, it's going to run to unknown amounts because it's never been there. Never been there. It's been 43 years that it first almost touched $50 intraday. 43 years of price suppression. It's actually 180 years of price suppression if you keep going back. I mean, you can go back before the introduction of computer trading by Alan Greenspan in the 1970s. Before that, Charles Savoy has written a great research paper called Silver Stealers. Look it up. Literally, newspaper article after magazine article, everything talking about the rigging of the price of silver. It is amazing that treasure trove of documentation. And it goes back all the way back to the Opium Wars, when England set up HSBC, Hong Kong Shanghai Bank, to get the people of China addicted to opium so they'd pay for the opium and silver, because England was losing all the silver to the Chinese, because the Chinese, they actually worked for a living. They had spices and teas and silks that the English wanted, and the English had to pay silver because China was on a silver standard. So what did the English do in all their glory? They got the Chinese people addicted to opium to get the silver back. Can you even imagine a worse thing for a country to do? And by the way, England is falling apart now. The latest is BBC engulfed in another child sex abuse allegation against one of its hosts. You go through that whole thing with the BBC in England. It's not just the BBC, it's all over. Jenny Moonstone has been telling us for 2 years now that silver manipulation ends when the exposure of the pedo rings is exposed. And amazing movie. Go check out Sound of Freedom. I haven't seen it yet. Amy and I are going to see it this week. Rolling Stone dissed it. Anybody who talks bad about this movie at all, I don't care. They are in on the game. In on the pedo game. It's insane. Anyway, Jenny said when this is fully exposed, and it's getting fully exposed now, silver is going to be able to be freely traded. And we're running out of time. We're literally running out of time for you to get physical silver in your own possession. Go today. Go to your local coin shop. Buy up all their silver. Back your truck up. If they don't have enough, call up Andy Scheckman at Miles Franklin. Send them an email, info@milesfranklin.com. Say, give me what you got in inventory. There's no time left. I don't know. I do think that silver will break 30 before we get to the day that JP Morgan, the ultimate silver rigger, gets off, or it expires. Their deferred prosecution agreement for rigging the price of silver and gold in the U.S. Treasury ends on September 20th. I don't think we're going to get past September 11th. That's my big day. And then when silver breaks 30, good night. It's over. We're going to see the comics shut down. We're going to see everything shut down. But again, in August, if they sign this gold-backed currency, it's all coming to a head. Everything on the road to Ruta. Everything I've been screaming about for so long. Listen to the 3-part interview I had with Jack Sermon, the head of Silver Eagle sales. Good guy, true American, angry at what's going on at the U.S. Mint. He's been there 35 years, and he didn't want to give up the ghosts, but he did because he knows what's going on. And he didn't know a lot of this stuff was illegal. Like, it's illegal for the U.S. Mint to charge a premium on the Silver Eagle bullion program. It's illegal, and yet they do every year. Not every year, because it used to be they used to go to him and say, "Hey, we can't mark these up," but they are. And Ventures Gibson, the head of the U.S. Mint, the only thing she's done is introduce a couple diversity programs at the U.S. Mint. She's never run a mint in her life. She has no clue how to run a mint. She just does what she's told, and Janet Yellen told her, do not sell Silver Eagles. Completely illegal. They all belong in jail. Really interesting stuff. If you follow the trouble that they had in the banking system in the first quarter, in March, it was all about capital requirements for the mid-tier banks. This is crazy. I saw this headline. What does this mean? Regional banks rally after Fed proposes higher capital requirements for smaller banks. That's insane. They rallied for an instant because probably the Exchange Stabilization Fund didn't, after announcing this, that they're going to require higher capital requirements for the smaller banks. That means and it goes on to explain, it's usually with 100,000 or 100 billion. How much is it? $700 billion and below has to report on the losses that are unrealized, assets held for sale that are unrealized losses. They're moving that to 100 billion, which adds. I mean, how many banks between 700 and 100 billion? That's a hell of a lot of banks. That's a hell of a lot of mid-tier banks. And it's just going to expose even more. This is crazy for them to do because it exposes more unless you're looking to destroy the banking system. And that's exactly what they're doing. Now, check this out. Now, this cracks me up because after March of this year, when the banks were going through all the crises, the FDIC report came out, and it came out and said, if Forbes wrote an article, banks' $515 billion of quarterly paper losses is actually an improvement. And it was, but the reality is this is only for that one quarter. And it's because of this, because of the 5-year treasury and the 3-year treasury. The short-term treasuries had a little respite right in here. Let me show you exactly why these guys are on the brink of collapse. Let's see, where's it good? So in this article, you can see right here, these are the unrealized losses. See right in here? $675 billion in unrealized losses. These are mostly treasuries, short-term treasuries that, when the rates go up, what happens? The treasuries are less valuable. Banking 101, and all these banks got lulled into submission because they didn't think they needed it. They didn't think the rates would go up. They didn't think was the problem. And the problem came in this, when you look at the first quarter, you look at the 1 year, it's right in here. The end of the, and this, I'm talking about FDIC reporting. So it was right in here. And when these rates were so high, it was 4%. And that's where you got the huge losses. Now, look at the next quarter, the end of March, it was all the way down to 3.6%. So that's the difference. That's the reason why it went from here to down to there, is because the short-term treasuries. But now look what's happened. So from there, it has jumped massively, and it ended the quarter at 4.1 or 4.2. So this is not only going to jump more than the 525 billion, it's going to jump over the 675 billion in losses when the FDIC reports this number. So is Forbes going to come out and say, oh my God, crazy losses of 750, $800 billion in unrealized losses? And this report comes out at the end, it would come out the end of, I think it's the end of August. I can tell you right now. June, March. No, the beginning of August. I'll get the exact date on that. But it's crazy. This is what's killing them, the short-term treasuries, because they all have all these treasuries, and as the rates go up, poof, the value of the treasury goes down. So anyway, also, so what's going to happen? The BRICS announce, hey, we're going to go to a gold-backed currency. Well, first of all, it's hyperinflationary right there, because you're adding another currency. I don't care if it's gold-backed or what. Yeah, it might do well compared to the others, but it's hyperinflationary. Anytime you add more currency to the current slushing of currencies, it's inflationary. You're adding more currency. I don't care how strong the currency is or not. But the reality is, what is every country going to do? They're going to say, oh my God, so the majority of the population of the planet is going on to a gold currency along with their currency. What should we do with our currency? What should the United States of America do to the US dollar? We should print as much of it as possible while it's still accepted. And that's what we've been doing since 1913. But now it's really kicking into high gear. China knows this, so they announced fake CPI numbers, fake PPI numbers. China on brink of deflation as CPI slumps, PPI slumps, tumbles most since 2015. They announced this right after the announcement of the gold standard stuff. China is going to open the floodgates on money printing and buy up everything they can. Not with the gold-backed currency, but with their other currency that they have. And so is every country on the planet, because this is the end game. Print as much as you can, build your army, your navy, build your houses, until the game ends. And they've already announced the end game with the gold-backed currency. So watch for super crazy hyperinflation. China's going to buy up everything. The gold, the silver, obviously, they're already buying the silver. Watch silver run so far past $50, it's going to make your head spin. Very soon. And just, FYI, Tesla sales up 20% sequentially, outpacing China's overall 8.6. Electric cars, how much? Okay, if you add, let's just say silver goes to $1,000 or $2,000 an ounce. That's only $1,000 or $2,000 for each additional for each electric car. They can still do that. They can still make those electric cars. So such a little amount of silver is used in the manufacture of cars. Then again, nobody knows exactly how much silver is used anywhere. It's all hush-hush secret. I guarantee you Elon Musk knows. I guarantee you Elon Musk is stockpiling and has a lot of those future contracts, long future contracts, although I don't think those will deliver at all. I don't think the comics is going to follow through with their promises. It's a criminal organization. And again, as Jenny Moonstone has said many times, silver isn't going to be allowed to run until it's all exposed about the child abuse, and it is happening right now. Watch this movie, Sound of Freedom. I'm going to watch it this weekend. And anytime you read anything negative on it, because I heard it's such a good movie, but just the concept is so important. Any media outlet, usually on the left, like CNN or CNBC, anyone who talks crap about it is in on the horrific operation. So that's my take. Again, here's the craziness going on. The FDIC will announce next month, and it's going to be ugly. We are still giving away the silver Ruta coin. We're going to stop giving it away when silver hits $30. So make sure you get your 1-year subscription, and we'll send you the Ruta Lives coin, hand-painted, individually numbered, for a 1-year subscription. We don't sell them other than we give them away with subscription. So check that out. Go to roadtoruta.com. Hit subscribe today. This is Bix Weir. I'll talk to you.